Guys, Oman's Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi has made a very strong claim that by going to war with Iran, the United States has made a huge miscalculation. He claims that this is not even America's war. According to him, Israel has pulled the US into this war. That means even America's allies are now questioning its foreign policy. Oman has even said that the United States has lost control over its own foreign policy. And friends, many people are also beginning to agree with this. The way horizontal and vertical escalation is increasing in this war and an energy shock is being created, it clearly shows that a strategic blunder has been made by the United States. Vertical escalation means that the severity or intensity of the war increases within the same theater where the war is already happening. It means that in the same place where the war is ongoing, the attacks are becoming more aggressive. For instance, striking military sites, then nuclear sites, then eliminating top leadership, then destroying civilian infrastructure. In that way, raising the intensity. We saw that recently the South Pars gas field was attacked. This field is the source of around 70 to 80% of Iran's gas supply. So in this way, increasing the stakes and costs in an ongoing war and intensifying the war campaign further is called vertical escalation. And this is clearly happening. Along with this, horizontal escalation is also taking place. Horizontal escalation means the spread of the war into other geographies. And we can already see that the war is no longer limited to Iran. It has spread across the entire Gulf region. Attacks are happening on Gulf countries. The war is expanding. Along with military sites, both sides are now also targeting high-value civilian targets. Airports, hotels, apartment buildings, and energy choke points are all being targeted. A tit-for-tat retaliation cycle is going on. On the very first day of strikes, Israel and the US eliminated Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Top IRGC leaders were also eliminated. But even after facing so much damage, Iran has somehow managed to sustain retaliation across the region. Iran is targeting American bases present in every Gulf country. Drone and missile attacks are taking place. Back in June 2025, the United States attacked Iran during negotiations. And again, in February 2026, the United States attacked Iran during ongoing negotiations. The attacks happened in the middle of talks. Negotiations had not broken down. In fact, a breakthrough was being achieved. Iran had agreed that it would not build a nuclear bomb. It had agreed to allow inspections of its sites. But despite this, Iran was attacked. Last year, it was claimed that the June 2025 strikes had obliterated Iran's nuclear program. But now, to justify another attack, it is again being claimed that Iran was about to build a nuclear weapon. So either the claim made earlier was false, or the current claim is false. You eliminated Iran's leadership. You eliminated the supreme leader. But look, a new supreme leader has come. Khamenei has been replaced by another Khamenei, who is younger and more aggressive. You eliminated an individual, but you couldn't eliminate their ideology. The system remains the same. In fact, you have strengthened the resolve of Iran's military leadership. The system has not changed. It still exists with internal changes. And after the removal of the supreme leader, Iran is no longer bound to show restraint. Iran now has a strong reason to retaliate massively, and it is doing so. Iran is no longer engaging in symbolic retaliation like before. Now it is carrying out reciprocal attacks. If you attack its energy infrastructure, it will target energy infrastructure in other countries in the region to create pressure. It will attack American allies. In a way, American allies are being punished for hosting US military bases. They are being thrashed for allowing their land to be used for attacks on Iran. So in this way, both vertical and horizontal escalation have increased in this war. Iran is no longer sparing even civilian sites. Wherever Iran suspects that American servicemen might be present, attacks are being carried out there. Iran maintains tight control over the Strait of Hormuz. It is ensuring that the cost of this war is not borne only by itself, the United States and Israel, but by every regional state. It wants American allies hosting military bases to understand the consequences of their adventurism. Iran's actions have created a full-scale military crisis in the region. Horrific attacks on a school building in Iran by the US, leading to the unaliving of several children, attacks on Iran's oil infrastructure by Israel, causing toxic rain, creating problems for civilians. The civilian casualties and suffering are increasing with each passing day. This will make the situation more difficult for the United States and Israel. As the war continues, the cost for the United States will keep increasing. Donald Trump does not want this war campaign to be prolonged. He also does not want American soldiers on Iranian soil. But Israel is pushing for it. Because without deploying ground troops, regime change is not possible. And even if ground troops are deployed, a heavy price will have to be paid due to Iran's geography. Thousands of American soldiers could be wiped off. The United States has already experienced this in Vietnam and Afghanistan. If ground troops are deployed in Iran, a similar situation could repeat. You need to understand that Iran is fighting for its survival. It has very high stakes in this conflict, and it has strong incentives to continue its attacks. That is why a tit-for-tat cycle is ongoing. The United States claims that it has severely degraded and destroyed Iran's military capabilities. But this is not visible on the ground. Iran is retaliating massively. On the contrary, the ammunition of the United States and Israel is getting exhausted. Just a few hours ago, President Trump claimed that the United States can fly anywhere in Iran's airspace without being stopped. But within a few hours, reports emerged that Iran's air defense had hit an American 5th-generation F-35 fighter jet. The reality is clear. Iran's capabilities have been severely underestimated from day one. That is why many geopolitical analysts and now even America's allies are saying that by starting this war with Iran, the United States has made a grave mistake. Because it is common sense that no war should be started like this based on emotions. It should be started on the basis of facts and intelligence. One should move forward with clear strategic objectives. One should proceed with a clear plan and strategy. And here, the objectives are not clear at all. They keep shifting. Sometimes it is regime change. Sometimes it is destroying the nuclear program. Sometimes it is eliminating Iran's influence, and so on. Clarity is missing. Even American intelligence officials are admitting that the objectives of the United States and Israel are different. And now Oman is also pointing out the same thing, that the United States has become involved in a war that has been designed based on Israel's priorities, not America's priorities. Somehow, Israel convinced the United States that it would achieve a quick victory inside Iran. Like what happened in Venezuela, you capture the leader and take control of all resources. Similarly, in Iran, the idea was to eliminate the supreme leader, eliminate the top IRGC leaders. People would come out on the streets. Regime change would happen. A pro-US regime would be installed, and Iran's resources would be controlled. Israel managed to convince the United States of this idea. But this illusion has not proven to be correct. The ground reality is completely different. Even after decapitating the supreme leader, Iran is still standing and retaliating. For the time being, regime change has not been achieved, nor have Iran's capabilities been destroyed. So America's planning has completely collapsed. Attacks on energy infrastructure are increasing. The war is spreading further. The situation is moving toward the deployment of ground troops. That would prove disastrous. Iran is not agreeing to a ceasefire. It has made it clear that it will now teach the United States a hard lesson. NATO allies are reluctant to join the war. Friends, this is what happens when a war is entered based on wrong assumptions. Oman and other Gulf countries are angry because they were not taken on board before starting the war. They were not even consulted. But now they are paying a heavy price. Because Iran is now thrashing Gulf countries. Because they allowed their land to be used by the United States to attack Iran. So now Gulf countries have also become legitimate targets for Iran. Due to the Strait of Hormuz crisis, the business of Gulf countries is also being affected. That is why Gulf countries are upset that this war has been imposed on them. There is a reason why it is said that being an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but being its friend can be fatal. Gulf countries are now beginning to understand this. If Gulf countries thought that in difficult times the United States would help them and that by hosting American military bases they would receive security, then it is clear that they have not learned anything from history. The United States will do what is in its own interest. And to fulfill those interests, others will merely be used. After all, by doing this for years and by controlling the resources of other countries, the United States became a superpower. And now, because of a blunder in West Asia, Iran is challenging America's superpower status. Now, even America's allies are saying that the United States is not setting its own agenda. They are saying that Israel is setting its agenda. America's decisions are being shaped by Israel. The United States is not leading, it is following Israel. Such diplomatic accusations are now being made publicly against the United States. Entering a war without a long-term strategy has made the situation worse. On the ground, the situation is not under America's control. It is only reacting. It is reacting to events as they unfold. It is trying to control them somehow. It is trying to control the narrative. It is trying not to appear weak. Now, America's decisions are driven by pressure, not strategy. America's dominance in the world appears to be declining. European allies are openly calling out the United States. Gulf countries are also questioning American policies. A country like Oman, which plays a special diplomatic role, is now criticizing the United States. Oman mediates talks between the US and Iran. It maintains neutral relations with both sides. It has helped negotiations many times before. And now that same country is criticizing the United States. This shows the level of regional frustration building within Gulf countries. And Iran's strategy is clear. It knows that it is fighting a militarily superior power. Iran understands very well that it cannot win in symmetric warfare. So Iran is simply trying to prolong the war and make it difficult for the United States to sustain this war. It wants to bleed the American economy. Iran may not win, but it will stretch the war so long that the United States will also not win. The regional crisis created by Iran is becoming difficult for the United States to manage. The United States is asking other countries for help, requesting them to send their navies to unlock the Strait of Hormuz. Who is at war with Iran? Israel and the United States. But from whom are naval forces being requested? Other countries. Who is expected to send navies? Other countries. Who is expected to face Iran's missiles and drones? Other countries. This is what the United States wants. Naturally, other countries have bluntly refused. They are saying that this war was started by the United States. This is your war. We'll not get involved. The trust deficit with the United States due to its unpredictability has increased significantly. That is why countries have declined America's request. In frustration, the United States has called them ungrateful and cowards. Now countries around the world are realizing that they must reduce their dependence on the United States. They must increase their strategic autonomy. And they must avoid direct involvement in such unnecessary and destabilizing wars. The viewpoint of the United States and Israel was that preemptive strikes on Iran would prevent a larger conflict. This has completely failed. A regional crisis has emerged. Allies have abandoned the United States. And now, the global economic and geopolitical shock that is being created is becoming more difficult to manage with each passing day.